Yo guys, what's going on? xVFRoSTeD back again with another X and Y narrative Wi-Fi battle. This was a battle I had against Daxturis, I think his name is, on YDCM's channel during his tournament on the first round. This turned out to be a really awesome game. And looking at the teams, he's got a really threatening team, but if I could weaken his landers just a little bit, my Excadrill will be able to come in and take on the rest of his team, considering that it's scarfed. So knowing that, let's get straight to the match. Looking at the team preview, I was expecting the Rotom lead, so I decided to lead off with the Manectric as he leads off with the Landorus. And as from my previous match that I had with him, I remembered this Landorus being Scarf, so I didn't want to take the risk of him going straight for the Earthquake. Thinking that he might, I went to my own Landorus to get the Intimidate off, and possibly if he went to the Earthquake, I can get my free Stealth Rocks up, as he does make the good play and goes for the U-turn, expecting me to remember that his Landorus was Scarf, as he goes and pulls as a switch into his Keldeo. And I don't have too many switches into Keldeo, so I decided to pull a switch into a Azumarill, seeing as it's my only Keldeo check, and it's not the bulky Azumarill. And judging by that damage he just did to me with the Scald, it actually is a Choice Specs variant, because that did a lot of damage. And luckily I didn't get burned, and I decided to go for the Play Rough, not wanting to go for the Belly Drum right away, because he still has that Latios that I still need to weaken before I can start Belly Drumming up and killing off the rest of his team. So I decided to pull a switch into Manectric, expecting the Volt Switch, but he does make the good play and go for the Will-O-Wisp, and I was thinking right there that I should have went into my Conkeldurr. Well, it was a misplay, I couldn't help it, so he goes into his Heatran. I was actually predicting him to switch into his Lander, seeing as it's his only ground type to prevent me from Volt Switching, and knowing that it's Scarf, I felt like he would be trying to pull that switch. So I decided to go for the HP Ice, but unfortunately he switched into his Heatran, which takes it like a boss because it's 4 times resistant, and I just took more burn damage. And now I'm going for the Volt Switch because I know he's not going to switch out this time. I was contemplating going for the HP Ice again, expecting him to go back into his Landers, but I didn't want to lose my Manectric right away because it's my only check to pretty much KO Keldeo along with my Choice Scarf Excadrill. As I gave him free rocks as I went for that over prediction, I went to my Conkeldurr as he goes for the Protect to scout what I was going to do. I went for the Knockoff, predicting him to go and switch into his Latios, but this time I decided to switch up my moves because I know he's not going to pull a switch into his Latios or his Landers because of the fact that he could get Ice Punched or knocked off because his Landorus is his winning condition. As I go for the Drain Punch, predicting something else like Rotom or Scizor, and I get the Scizor, and I decided to pull a switch out into Landorus because Landorus is my only check to Scizor. Yeah, because I don't really have too much for Scizor at the moment, as he does turn out to be the Mega Scizor. He decides to go for the Roost on my Switch, which is a good play on his part, and this turn I decided to go get my Rocks up, seeing as is my only opportunity since Scizor can't really do too much to my Landorus here. So when I got out my Rocks, he decided to go for the U-turn just to go get momentum on my Landorus here, and I believe he pulls the switch right back out into his Keldeo. Oh no, actually he thinks he pulls the switch out into his Latios. Yeah, he pulls the switch out into his Latios, which kind of makes me go into the decision of whether I want to go into the Sylveon or the Excadrill. I saw Sylveon is the best choice because of the possibility of it carrying Surf, and honestly, that's what he actually goes for. He went for the Surf, and now if I went into my Excadrill, I would have lost my Excadrill, and that could have been really bad. So I decided to go with Polar Wish here, expecting him to switch out, but unfortunately he doesn't switch out, and he does so much damage with that Psyshock on my Sylveon, as I do pull the switch, and I do go for the obvious Protect because I cannot over-predict around him, because Sylveon is a check to his Keldeo as long as his Latios as well. So I wanted to keep it at a very healthy HP, and I did not want to over-predict there. On normal cases, I probably would have stayed in and probably hyper-voiced him, but he decides to pull a switch right into a Scizor, and this is not my HP Fire Sylveon, it's actually a physically defensive Sylveon with Toxic. I decided to go get Hyper Voice, seeing that he might try to get the Psyshock damage off on my Sylveon again. I just wanted to KO the Latios because the Latios could have been a pretty big threat to my team if my Sylveon ended up going down. And this is just me protecting, getting as much recovery as I can with the leftovers as I pull a switch into my Landorus. And at this point, I'm getting a lot of Stealth Rock damage, What I should have done right there is probably went into my Excadrill, because the Excadrill would have had forced him into his Landers, and I could go and pull switch back into my Landers, and then proceed from there as I can U-turn and Volt Switch out and everything. So he does pull the switch out into his Keldeo, going for the U-turn for expecting my Landers, which is a good play, and I decided to pull a switch out into my Conkeldeo, seeing as it's really my only switch into Keldeo, as this Skull does so much damage. I was not expecting it to do that much damage, again, because I knew it was choice specs, but I thought I could take it a lot better than I did. But unfortunately, it was a solid 2-hit KO, which forced me to go for the Mach Punch just to get some damage off on the Keldeo, which was kind of a bad play in my opinion, but I didn't really have much of a safe switch into Keldeo, so I had no choice but to stack off my Conkeldeo. As I decided to pull a switch out into my Manectric, I knew he wasn't going to go into his Landers this time, so I decided to go and Volt Switch, seeing as it's my safest play, play right there. This play, I should have went into my Excadrill and forced out the Heatran and got a Rapid Spin off, because it would have relieved me of pressure with the Stealth Rocks, because the Stealth Rocks actually played a pretty decent role to my team, especially since my Manectric is burnt, and it's more of a hit and run Pokemon because it's burnt and Stealth Rocks. That some comes into play later on. As I predict him to switch into something that would levitate, I decided to go for the U-turn on his Rotom, and once again I should have went into my Excadrill here, but no, I decided to go into my Manectric, get more Stealth Rock, get more burn damage, just to kill off a Rotom, which I should have done is probably just went into my my Excadrill, just went for the Earthquake and just killed the Rotom, and I would have been in a really decent position. But now I go into my Excadrill trying to bait out the Landers, so because if I bait out the Landers and go onto my own Landers, I could get a safe switch into another poke and proceed to U-turn and whatnot from there. So I decided to do that. I decided to pull out a switch into my Landorus, but expecting him to go for a Stone Edge or whatnot, but I was locked into Earthquake because my Excadrill is Scarf, so I had no other option. Not to mention, I didn't want to lose my Scarf for absolutely no reason. So he's seeing that he didn't think he would kill me, he decides to pull a switch out into a Scizor, seeing that he could take any hit from me, but I decided to go for the U-turn here, expecting the Scizor switch in, and I decided to go and pull a switch out into my Excadrill or my Manectric, which my Manectric, I don't know why I even did this. This was a horrible play on my decision, because that not only am I getting more burn damage and more Stealth Rock damage, but now I'm in range of a -1 Bullet Punch killing me off, which was unfortunate. But that was my way around Keldeo is now gone. Now I'm forced to go out into my Drill. This is what I should have done the whole match. Like, I should be going into Drill, pressuring his team with this Drill, because Drill is the only thing that could really take down his entire team once Landorus is gone. But unfortunately, I made that play in the Manectric, and that could have lost me the game right there. But I did switch out into my own Landorus again, because seeing is I don't really have a safe switch into a Landorus, as he does decide to go for a knockoff, and he knocks off my Landorus and kills me because I couldn't get the rocks off the field. Now I go to my Azumarill, and luckily because his rocks were up, I actually get the Citrus Berry, which I was kind of like looking at my team and I saw the Azumarill would get a Citrus Berry. He can't knock me off now, and he was thinking about me belly drumming, but again, because Latios is at a really decent amount of HP, I probably should have belly drummed here. This probably could have won me the game, because his Latios, when he comes in, he's at like that much HP. I could have won the match by simply belly drumming, but I didn't, and I was worried about the Psyshock damage and the Aqua Jet not killing, and I wasn't really aware that Latios' HP was that low. Otherwise, I could have won the game possibly here, depending if I could Aqua Jet the Keldeo here. So yeah, that was my fault, and I decided to fodder off the Azumarill, and I lose my Azumarill here with the Secret Sword, which absolutely sucks. So this forces me to go out into my Sylveon, and right here I should have just went for a Wish, just knowing that he was probably going to sack off his Keldeo, as he can't risk switching in his Landorus and taking heavy damage, because he knows that Sylveon can possibly take an Earthquake. But unfortunately I went for the Hyper Voice, not expecting him to stay in. I don't know. I was expecting the Lander switch in. I didn't want him to get a free switch into his Lander, so I decided to go for the Hyper Voice, which was a horrible play. And right here I went for the Protect, just so I can get enough HP just to restore enough the point that I can take an Earthquake. The next play, I should have went for the Wish, just to see how much damage I can do, and I could possibly heal as much more as he's doing with the Earthquake. And as you see here, that did a solid 104 HP, which means that I could have Wish stalled him here and gained enough HP to possibly take 2 Earthquakes if I had got full HP, as long as he didn't get a crit. But unfortunately, I didn't go for the Wish, and this, because my Hyper Voice didn't kill his Landorus is now free to Earthquake the rest of my team. And because I'm an Adamant Excadrill, not a Jolly Excadrill, I'm a Choice Scarfed Excadrill, but unfortunately, he's also Adamant, and he's going to outrun me and destroy my Excadrill. This was a narrow 1-0 victory in my opponent's favor, and he played extremely well. I made a bunch of misplays that match, but hey, you learn from your mistakes, right, man? He also won the tournament that night too. He was actually really, really good. Played really well, really close first round. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitch. And like always, guys, signing off.